Hey you guys, this is Aaron Hilliard for Mushroom Wonderland, and today I'm heading into the forest of the mountains to look for mushrooms for whatever's coming up right here at the end of September. And at the end, I'm gonna do some amazing cooking with a mushroom that I found. So make sure to hit subscribe and let's go into the woods to discover what kind of mushrooms are growing in late September.
Welcome to Mushroom Wonderland.
All right, everyone, I made it to the mountains. It's been a long drive this morning, but I'm here early. It's raining out here lightly. I've seen some signs of some Cortinarius perhaps, but we're gonna take a walk. Ooh, look at the first thing that I encounter. Look at that, iconic mushroom. This is Amanita muscaria, the Mario mushroom, probably the most iconic mushroom in the world, containing some toxins as well as some psychoactive compounds, and can be rendered edible by a couple boilings and then just cook it like a regular mushroom. Humans have been using this for a long time for various purposes, mainly for, its mind-altering effects, which are said to be so unpleasant that people usually don't do it twice. That's a cool one to encounter first thing on the trail, Amanita muscaria. Got my bucket. Do a little camo action. I like to camouflage it a little bit. There's been times when it's been so full, I'll just stash it and then go pick some more mushrooms with the mesh bag in my backpack. And I drilled holes in it in case it gets that much water in there. But it kind of allows the mushrooms to breathe a little bit too. Found a balloon, but even cooler than that, look what I just came across. This is young chicken of the woods. Laetiporus conifericola, growing off this super duper old stump. So these things don't need to be grown on fresh wood. The last couple I found are on really ancient old wood. And this is a young one and a polypore. And a lot of people call this their favorite edible, or at least put it in their top 5. This is super fresh, nice little cluster. This one doesn't have too much of a scent. Sometimes I feel like the smell is just really off-putting, but this one doesn't smell bad at all. Beautiful nugget of chicken of the woods. So there's a couple of types of chicken of the woods you could find in Washington. The main one being Laetiporus conifericola, the kind that grows on conifer wood like this. Said to maybe cause more GI distress than other species of chicken of the woods. But it's really the main one that people find and eat here in Washington. And so, certain amount of people just have an intolerance to them or get sick from them. The other one, Laetiporus gilbertsonii, usually growing on hardwood on like fruit trees. More in like domesticated settings. So this is the one you'll typically find in the wild, and it's fine to eat as long as just eat a little bit at first, cook it really thoroughly, make sure that it's the right mushroom, but you can't really mistake that. Nothing else really looking like that. Cool find, chicken of the woods, Laetiporus conifericola. That one's going in the basket for sure. Gonna put it in there with my little balloon that I found from the city. Let's keep hunting. It's lovely up here. So quiet. Ooh, look here, these big ugly mushrooms growing under this shrub. And these guys are a russula. Look, they're getting moldy, and when these get old, this is where they get their common name, the blackening russula. And so they start out brown and then they turn black when they get old. And they're host to a lot of parasitic mushrooms. The parasitic powder cap, Astrophoria lycopordoides grows on these, as well as a couple different types of Colibia. There's one of these that are said to be deadly in Japan, from section subnigricans. I don't know, I've also heard David Aurora eats them, the blackening russula, but I just personally would avoid them. They just don't look nice. Not interested in collecting for food, but sometimes a really cool one to look close at for other mushrooms that are growing on it. So I gotta be honest, as I'm walking in my muck boots across these kind of moist little shrubs, I slipped and fell twice consecutively super hard. I like totally went all the way down the first time and was like, wow, that sucked. And like 10 steps later, I did it again, but harder. I just slammed. That was insane. So I'm slowing way down. These are not good for traction. Great for waterproofness, but oh my God, Never had anything like that happen. Slick out here in these rubber boots. What did I find right here? Looks a little suspicious. Got the coloration of perhaps a bolete. But nope, this one has gills. Kind of a boring looking mushroom, but it's got that bulbous base and that color of cap. If you look close, you can see these kind of rusty brown orange spores on the stipe. And this is a Cortinarius, a fat stemmed little cort. We call them cort for short, but you know, it's a Cortinarius. So it's a confusing and tricky big section of mushrooms. They're getting split up into a bunch of smaller sections because they have such morphological difference and difference in DNA. But Cortinarius typically, you know, inedible, not one that is really known to be eaten. So a lot of these are just unknown edibility. I see a younger one over there, so I'm going to make an iNaturalist option. So here's another Cortinarius. There's a good example of the Cortina. So if you see that cortinal veil, this is why they call it a web cap. It looks like a spider web or something. But this one will disappear really rapidly after it detaches and just kind of go away. A really chonky Cortinarius, but it's named for that cortinal veil, even though there are some species that don't show that cortinal veil, and a lot of them, they just disappear really quick. But a good example of Cortinarius. Definitely obvious that that one is a Cortinarius. Check out this mushroom that I found here. I picked this one and flipped it over. Really yellow mycelium, but look, it's got like a kind of a reddish brick red porous surface underneath. So this is a type of bolete. And this is actually one of the oldest boletes in, you know, in the evolutionary scale of Boletaceae. And it parasitizes the mycelium of the Amanita muscaria. So this is Chalcoporus piperatus, or the spicy bolete or the peppery bolete. And yeah, most boletes with red sponges underneath, you definitely want to leave alone. This one, I don't think it's toxic. People use it as like a seasoning and stuff, and you could take a little nibble off the edge of the cap, chew it on the front of your tongue and spit it out, and you will get a very spicy taste in your mouth. Look at this one's kind of speckly on top, but when you flip it over, just unmistakable. These little red-pored boletes, a sign that Amanita muscaria is in the area, and it could be a sign that porcini is in the area, because they all kind of like to grow in the same habitats and near each other. So there's the peppery bolete, the Chalcoporus piperatus, and I noticed it always has this yellowish mycelium. It's really cool. And then the mushroom is kind of a brick sort of reddish color. So there you go. Cool mushroom. Beautiful example of the Chalcoporus. Hey you guys, really quick, I want to talk about this board game all about mushrooms that has been designed by another myco-entrepreneur called Caps and Stems. It's not a children's game. This is a pretty complicated game, but it'll be really fun for your friends and family on these rainy autumn nights ahead. This game has over 50 species of different mushrooms. This game doesn't exist yet. It's a Kickstarter campaign, so you can go to kickstarter.com, make this game a reality, and you get your copy of the game for 20% off. You can go check out the campaign at kickstarter.com. I'll put the link in the description, or you can go to capsandstemsgame.com. Let's go back to the woods. I see a really big mushroom over here. Let's have a look. Oh, kind of a scaly looking cap. And I have a feeling I know what this is. Let's get under here and flip it over. Boom. Ooh. Yeah, that's gnarly. This one is the bitter bolete, Calaboletus conifericola. And when it's younger, you can write on the pore surface and it stains like instantly blue. Really cool, but that one's nasty. We're gonna leave that one. Oh yeah, there's another balloon. A lot of balloons in the mountains. Quit letting go of your balloons, people. And if you find them, pick them up. Oh, and look what I see right here by the balloon. Another chicken of the woods. Pretty big. What a year for chicken of the woods. This is like the fourth one I found this year. Some years I never find them at all, but I see them on the internet constantly. People are finding them all over. Now this one's a bit older. Look at the difference between this young one and this old one, right? This one's getting dried out, and you know, it's probably still edible, but it's going to be a lot tougher than this younger one. So the chicken of the woods, you know, as it gets older, it gets more leathery, more tough, and you can find just huge flushes, but today I'm finding these nice little clusters, and that's a really pretty one. Let me break a chunk off. Yeah, it's got a porous surface under there. It's not gills, that's for sure, and it almost looks like little teeth here, just the way that the pores are elongated like that. So an older specimen, a chicken of the woods, Laetiparus conifericola. Again, very old stump, very well decayed stump. And right here I see the remnants of an old one that had died and went away. So, you know, it's mycelium is living under here between these two stumps, and it's just, you know, picking a new spot to put out some fruiting bodies. So I have the young fresh one. I think I'm going to leave this old one here to just do its business, but I will take the balloon. Oh man, it feels so good just to go for a hike way up in the mountains where the air is so fresh and crisp. It's been a long, dry summer in Western Washington, so happy to see rain. It's raining all the way to the lowlands today, which is nice. You know, it's a 3 prize day. Get to go for a hike, get to be in the mountains, get to find some mushrooms. Perfect. What else could you ask for? All right, really raining now. This kind of adds a layer of challenge to a mushroom hunt. You want to make sure you're prepared for stuff like this if you're heading into the mountains. And yeah, I'm wearing my muck boots, but they're super comfy actually, aside from being pretty slippery. Whoa, look at these chunky amanitas coming up. I can see that reddish yellow kind of orange color coming through, but these ones are just pure white. So don't mistake those for puffballs. These are definitely an amanita. You can see all these scales. These are going to be the white spots that are all over the red cap. This is just what they look like when they're really young. Beautiful little flush of them. Definitely going to leave those. What a nice little picture. Ooh, look at these. Some nice examples of Amanita pantherina group, or our West Coast version, Pantherinoides. And that's the brown one with the white spots. Man, those were really rooted in there. These came up a little while ago, but yeah, same thing. White spots, brown cap. So these ones are moldy, but you know, even fresh, they're considered toxic. Some people eat them for their intoxicating effects, but usually don't because it's said to be really unpleasant. So Amanita pantherinoides, your brown with white spots mushroom. Just gonna leave that there. Beautiful. I hiked up to these kind of alpine meadows up here around 5,000 feet. And I'm starting to see more and more mushrooms. Right here, a Lacaria. You could tell by that really scurfy stem. See all the little fibers that are hanging off. It's a really tough mushroom. And they're mycorrhizal, growing with, I guess, these true fir trees right here. And these are edible, but forgettable. I've eaten them, and it was actually kind of gross. But they can grow in big numbers. You can see it's got really kind of wide gills. This one has kind of a pinkish lavender kind of hue to the gills. Some of them will be really purple, a different species. The Lacaria amethysto-occidentalis, quite the tongue twister of a name. But this one, probably Lacaria lacata, and we'll call it edible, but forgettable. Here's another Lacaria. Oh man, that thing is very woody. Cool. All right, now I am thoroughly soaked. I'm a couple miles in the woods, and it is downpouring up here. So I don't know how much farther up I'm going to go. Might start heading back towards the truck because this is getting pretty bad. Just becoming one with the rainy nature. It's actually pretty awesome. Kind of bummed out to not have seen any signs of bolete. So I hiked up to 5,000 feet and not a sign of a button, not a big mush pile. Usually you'll find some really big blown out ones if they've already flushed. But there have been sightings of them in the Cascades. In fact, I saw a bunch at 3,000 feet a couple weeks ago when that first late summer rain hits. Oftentimes they flush, and you know, the question is, are they one and done? You know, do they just flush one time and some years just a few mushrooms come out and other years are a bumper crop? Or can they flush multiple times? Seems to me they just flush the one time and then they're done for the year. So the timing is critical. And the question is, like, did they already do it up here? Because I'm seeing no signs. So I feel like they haven't. And this heavy rain right now could mean that they're going to come up in about a week or a week and a half. It's a gamble you take if you want to head back up to the mountains after you've already checked once, after there's been some rain. They may have already flushed and just gone away. Could have happened a few weeks ago. Who knows? You know, these old boletes wouldn't make it a few weeks without being completely disintegrated. Look at this cluster coming out of the trail right here. Super clustered bunch of little mushrooms. Let me pick a few of these and we'll have a look. As I suspected, these ones are called the fried chicken mushroom, or Lyophilum decastes, a white spored mushroom that always grows in clusters like this. So, it's got these pale kind of cream colored gills under there. And so those are some identifiers, and they're usually this brownish color. They can vary in size and get really big sometimes. They're said to be a good edible. So the Lyophilum decastes group, always growing clustered like this. If you find an individual mushroom that you suspect to be the fried chicken mushroom, it's not going to be it. This is a definite key for this mushroom. So you see these tight clusters of these kind of mushrooms, no annulus, kind of a tan brown color. And another word for this formation is cespitose, like a hand. You see that? Little fingers. So cool. A young Lyophilum decastes, or the fried chicken mushroom. One thing I love is a spicy, crispy chicken sandwich. So I thought I want to go home and make a spicy, crispy chicken of the woods sandwich. So come with me. Let's go back to the kitchen and make a crispy chicken sandwich out of this awesome mushroom I found. All right, I made it home and I have chicken of the woods right here. And I'm going to make a recipe that I've actually never heard of anybody doing before with this mushroom. And it's to make a spicy, crispy chicken sandwich. So basically I'm going to take this and treat it just like chicken, but make a crispy, spicy chicken sandwich with it. So firstly, I'm going to slice this thing up and marinate it in a little bit of pickle juice for a while. Let it absorb some of that flavor before I get to cooking. I'm going to start out by cleaning all the dirt and wood debris and pine needles and stuff off of this chicken of the woods with a knife. Then using a little brush, I can get the needles out of the little crevices and stuff. Then I'm going to slice this into nice 5/8 inch thick pieces, just about the thickness of a chicken breast. Then I'm going to give it a rinse under the sink just to make sure I got all the debris and bugs off of it. Then I'm going to layer these into a bowl and cover them with pickle juice, and I'm going to cover it up and let it sit for at least an hour. Then I'm going to start with some all-purpose flour and add in some garlic powder, some Cajun seasoning, some cayenne pepper for spice, some salt, and we're going to add in some black pepper for a little more kick. Mix that all up nice. Then I'm going to make an egg wash. This is how you bread stuff. So I crack an egg into a bowl. I'm going to add in about 5 shots of Tabasco and what my old chef would call a handful of water. Then I'm going to mix that all up, and that makes our egg wash. And then I'm going to take a third bowl and put panko breadcrumbs in it. I'm going to mix a little bit of this seasoned flour in with the panko as well to make a nice crusty breading. After about an hour, I'm going to take these chicken of the woods slabs that have soaked in pickle juice, and first I'm going to put them into the flour and make sure they're dredged really well in the flour, and this will hold this egg wash mixture to the chicken of the woods. Then I'm going to take the mushroom and I'm going to put it into the panko breadcrumbs and make sure it's nicely coated, and into some hot oil to fry nice and crispy. You don't want it too hot. I want to be able to cook this for quite a long time before it gets burned, so about medium heat is right. I'm going to take all these other little chunks and make some chicken nuggets. Once I start flipping these over, you can see how beautifully golden brown they are. I'm going to slice up some fresh tomato from my garden. At the end of summer, when the mushrooms are coming out, the tomatoes are ripe. Have some nice romaine lettuce. I'm going to butter and grill the buns, because grilled buns are the yummiest on sandwiches. As my chicken of the woods cooks for about 5 to 7 minutes, it's going to get nice and golden brown. I'm going to take it out of the pan and let it kind of drip its extra grease out. I didn't say this was going to be the healthiest recipe, but maybe one of the most delicious ones. Now it's time to build our sandwich. I'm going to take the griddled bun, put my chicken of the woods, a little Swiss cheese, fresh tomato slices, some romaine lettuce, and a little buttermilk ranch on my grilled bun. And voila, we have a beautiful, crispy chicken sandwich. And it even looks like chicken inside. It's really surprising how awesome this turned out. All right, you guys, I'm ready to try this out. The spicy, crispy chicken of the woods sandwich. Sounds pretty amazing. Let's see. It's crunchy and crispy. It's a little bit spicy. If you've seen my videos in the past, I didn't like chicken of the woods for a long time, but I'm trying some new recipes and I really like this one too. This one's delicious. Honestly, the texture is exactly like chicken. I can't tell the difference between this and chicken. It would be interesting to do a blindfolded taste test of these side by side. This is so good. It's like a crispy chicken sandwich you would get from Wendy's or Chick-fil-A or something like that. Seriously, bon appetit. This is a great way to do it. One thing to keep in mind is to make sure that you cut it thin enough so that it'll cook thoroughly all the way through. You want it to get about 160 degrees in the middle, just like chicken. And just make sure that you cook it really well. Some people experience GI distress, so if it's your first time trying chicken of the woods, maybe try just a really small amount. You gotta get a little creative, but you can cut them really thin and then cook it kind of on low heat so they can cook for a long time. I'm a huge lover of chicken sandwiches, so I was prepared to give you bad news that this wasn't that good, but I don't know, the way that I did this, it's excellent. It's absolutely amazing. So here's another idea for your chicken of the woods, and I also have some spicy chicken nuggets up there on the counter. I'm gonna try them with a little barbecue sauce and stuff, but I don't see how it could go wrong. So thanks for joining me on this episode of Mushroom Wonderland. I hope you find some chicken of the woods and try one of my recipes like this or the cream sauce ones. Put your recipes in the comments below and let other people try them out and see what they think. So it was a fun day in the woods. I'm happy to be home and eating and dry. So until the next episode, much love everyone. Peace out.